everybody. So this is the Hallmarkies podcast, and we're really excited to get to interview uh, an actor named Brendan Taylor, who is part of the new movie Love Once and Always that is coming out tomorrow. I'm really excited to get to talk to Brendan. Amber is not able to make it to this morning, and so you'll have to excuse her. And so, Brendan, thank you so much for being on the podcast and talking with us.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
And so, first, what we'd like to do is to just ask you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to become an actor, and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah, so my name's Brendan Taylor. I'm an actor located in Vancouver, British Columbia. I have been with my agent for, a good 10 years now. But I've been booking steadily for about 3 or 4. And knock on wood, that acting has been my career so far, which has been my dream, but has not been a direct jump, a overnight success. It's been a culmination of many events and a lot of time and a lot of skill and skills being developed through experience. So, yeah, I started in high school, was sort of naturally gifted at it, but I didn't really think that it was something that real people could do. It seemed like such a far away thing that only big Hollywood actors are a different breed or type of person, and it just didn't seem like something that little old me could do. And I eventually found I kept with it though, and kept because I enjoyed it, and I kept doing classes, and I worked in the art department for about 10 years on the other side of camera, and got to know a film set through and through, and I got to watch some big A-list actors do their thing in front of me and talk to them, and that was very inspiring, as it sort of brought everything closer to home, within reach of maybe this isn't such a surreal possibility for me. And so I just kept pursuing it and started to scale back my job in the art department. And as I got more auditions, and I had really great bosses who supported me to go away on lunch breaks and change while I'm driving, and drive across town and inhale a sandwich on my lunch break and head on the way back to set and keep working. So, and finally it just sort of started to shift in my direction that I'm doing this full time. So it's been really great, but it's definitely a grind. It's not, I can't kick back, and I don't live in on a yacht. I'm just I've only gotten to where I am through hard work. So
that's great. What is it that you like about acting? What is it?
I think I've always been drawn to movies and films and movies and films and TV and stories and fictional stories and other people's stories. I really like the idea that one person can represent someone else and tell a story, and society is nothing without the ability to tell other people's stories. Otherwise we'd all just be robots, working for the man. So.
Right. So was it something that you grew up watching a lot of movies and were a big movie person?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up watching, dating myself definitely, but I grew up in the late 80s and 90s, and which I think, of course, anyone will say, but it's the best time to grow up. Having a lot of the great classics, Star Wars, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, a lot of Mel Brooks and Monty Python were big influences for me for comedy wise. I've always loved comedies and been into that. But just action movies as well. I think Batman, Tim Burton's original Batman, is probably a game changer for me. just that sort of cool, dark sort of action um, film was really inspiring to me, and I get drawn into these. I think as real fans do, you get sort of drawn into these worlds, and yeah, so it just I think, but I was a very shy, sensitive kid who that doesn't you think of actors as maybe extroverted, center of attention kind of thing, but that's really not the case in most cases. I
Mm,
would think.
interesting.
I you know I there's the sensitivity and the empathy leads to being able to develop character. But if you're kind of look at me, you're not really maybe necessarily you know taking in all the detail. So
Mm,
um, yeah, but it's I think it's pretty common for some famous actors too. I mean, good examples like Daniel Day-Lewis, who's considered one of the greatest
yeah.
actors of all time. And how much do you hear about him in public, in media and everything? Like I'm sure he literally pays people to hide him because
Yeah.
him and his family, you don't know anything about him because he doesn't make it known. Because I think he
Hmm.
really appreciates, and in interviews, he's a very socially awkward kind of very
Hmm.
um, eccentric person. But then he dives in and does these insane, powerful, crazy roles. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
That's true. That's a good
yeah,
example. He gets
yeah.
to be the cobbler in his free time, but then becomes the actor. And he gets a part, I guess. So that's
Yeah,
really cool. That's interesting.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think when you get to sort of that level of the stuff you see on TV and stuff, it's all is public relations. It's people um, paying for the exposure.
Sure, sure.
But I think a lot of that stuff that you see, they literally tell people, the big stars are like, okay, they were going to be at this hotel in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, like
Get
a
your
joke.
cameras ready.
Yeah,
They're like, that's not the case for I think the majority
yeah.
of actors. So yeah.
Cool. So, when you're working in the art department in films like The Wicker Man, what was that? Because
Hmm.
I mean, that movie is a hot mess, but the
Yes, it is.
the production design is actually pretty strong. Um,
It is.
what was that like?
It was. I was a really cool experience. It being sort of my first big job. Um, we shot on Bowen Island here, which is a small island just um, up the coast here in Vancouver. So I get to take the ferry every day, and it's a really beautiful place. So a lot of travel with that. Um, the lab sets and the interiors and stuff like that were all very very cool. We were all over Vancouver shooting that film. Um, there's one kind of cool science lab set that had sort of like jars of organs and animals and things like that, which was a kind of fun set to be a part of. But sort of funny story that's not, but still art department, but not really my job was they built the big Wicker Man, the big
Yeah,
um, cage that Nicolas Cage is in a cage. Um, the head that he lives in, um, and that he's put in at the top, and they actually built the full size one on Bowen Island and lined it with propane lines so it would all burn up really quickly. And I wasn't there that day, but I heard that it burned so fast, and the ashes and smoke went so far that there were tents and there were background actors, people's things, all the ashes came down and burned holes in everyone's clothes and these tents, and it was just like
holy cow!
the wind just kind of took all the fire and dropped it on the people and stuff like that. It was a pretty big deal. And then the head was designed to fall off, and there's in the film the head falls on the camera, sort of like that. The camera
Right,
looking up, and apparently that like destroyed the camera. They like just barely salvaged the footage because like this burning hot piece of bundle of wood was sitting on top of a camera. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool little stories about that. But some are hearsay. I don't know. sure
Yeah.
all of them are, but um,
Interesting.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, all the bees they had to work with. I mean, some
yeah,
of those were
right. The bees
digital bees,
in my head.
obviously, but some of them were.
Yes, they're all. But the art department did make all of the hives and everything. Those are all things that were made out of foam, actually. They're sort
Oh, really?
of arcade, the paint department and construction made all of those things. But I remember getting a lot of like honey products and like beeswax candles afterwards because we had so many left over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
fun. Uh,
yeah.
do you have any other projects that you worked on the production design that stood out to you?
Um, yeah, I mean, I worked on a show called Falling Skies, which
Uh-huh.
had about 4 seasons, I believe, which was a post-apocalyptic show about an alien invasion. And the kind of cool thing of that is every season, the sort of these people living in a post-apocalyptic world that, much like kind of Walking Dead, if you watch that, the surroundings get more and more decayed over time because like no one's maintaining anything, um, and in this show there were a lot of uh, all the objects, all the good stuff was take maybe early on that people salvaged all the good stuff, and 3 or 4 seasons in, there's like people are living in like barely what you would call shelters just because they're thrown together with whatever people can find because nothing exists anymore. Um, can't build a house or anything like that. So it was kind of cool to make these like designed messes everywhere. It looked like chaos, like just a bunch of crap thrown along the ground, but
Hmm.
it had to be strategic, which made sense with the story and timelines like that. So
Interesting.
making those like kind of designed, architected messes are kind of cool. Uh, yeah, taking old pianos, and I had a lot of forklift work on that. So like destroy stuff with forklift, taking a big piano that's all broken and smashing it on the ground and making it in pieces, and then making a little music room in the corner or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of
Hmm.
cool things to share.
Yeah, that you wouldn't think that like the destruction is production to make in a way.
Yeah, it's a kind of a misnomer. I mean, when something is decorated, you think of maybe a fancy office or something like that.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, it's decorated, but the set deck is just as equally responsible for like a slum or a I don't know, crack house or something like that.
Right,
That
right.
would be all decayed and decrepit. Like you can't just throw stuff on the ground. Like it has to kind of make sense for because all of those places, if you go into that place that's abandoned, it was once something and then is now a decayed version of that. So you have to like start with what it was and then tell the story with the mess and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's worth keep paying attention to in other shows as well. I think a
Yeah,
mess that they're actually very carefully designed.
do you watch things differently after that experience? So you see, oh, I bet that was really hard to do.
Definitely, yeah. Hopefully, if the movie or show, sometimes it just stands out because it's so good. But what happens is if a movie is kind of or a show is losing my interest, then I'll start to kind of
Oh,
wander.
yeah.
My brain wanders into like the technical aspect of how they did everything, um, and paying attention to that looks good or that's out of place or whatever. But one one set I remember that stands out to me. If you watch the first season of True Detective, the
Mhm.
one with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, there's the scene at the end where they go to the serial killer's house. And there's stacks of magazines and books and everything. That particular messy set, and that's a really good example of one done like in a very specific style that just looks so run down and gross. But I don't know, it was took a lot of effort. If you think that like people made that, like they probably started with an empty room, then it's pretty impressive to think of it that way.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Like even just since I have another channel that called Rachel's Reviews where I review movies and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
and even just as I've become sort of more of a seasoned movie um, movie watcher, even
Hmm.
you start to notice things that like and typical I think that I would never have noticed before.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
in some ways that's a good thing because I noticed, I'm just it's a more rich experience. But in some ways it's a bad
Hmm.
thing because I'm probably more critical than I would have been like when I
Yeah,
anyway. So it's interesting. I'm sure it's
it
even way
actually,
more
yeah, yeah,
so when you're actually involved in the process of movie making or television.
for sure.
But
Yeah, you start to notice, yeah, different, just also camera shots, and you're like, well, how do they do that, or how do they shoot that, or how to. I mean, I'm not an expert at all in cinematography, but I've watched enough and been around it enough where I see how
yeah,
it's all done, and you're like, how do they do that? It's pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is really cool. So let's talk about some of your roles that you've had. You were in a show called The Trials of Superman.
That's right. Yeah, so that was last fall. It was a special sort of docu series on AMC called AMC's Visionaries, and this one was the secret history of comic books. And it was a series that talked about Wonder Woman in one episode, and yeah, I think Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and my episode was about Superman. Specifically, the trials of Superman that Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators, um, not everyone knows that they spent the majority of their life in legal battles with DC Comics trying to get the rights back
Oh,
for their
interesting.
creation of Superman. I played Jerry Siegel, who was the sort of created the idea of Superman, and his buddy Joe Shuster was the one who animated him, and they worked together early on in history. And but yeah, eventually DC Comics sort of not just they owned the rights legally, but they never credited them or got them in or on the huge success that the icon that is Superman. So it was very interesting to see to sort of learn and play that history and um, when they were acknowledged was actually the opening credits of the 1978 movie. I could be wrong. The one with Christopher Reeves, the big movie with Marlon Brando and
Yeah.
um, uh, Mario Puzo, who wrote it or directed it, also wrote The Godfather, like that big Hollywood movie. They were invited to the premiere, and after a long legal battle, they noticed their names come up on the screen that says Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, and that was the big sort of moment where they were finally acknowledged for what they did. So it's a pretty cool story to dive into, learn about for comic book geeks out there.
Hmm. That's really cool. Your film, I think, or that you were in is
Hmm.
Charlotte's Song.
That's right.
What you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that I wish I could say you go and watch it. Is still caught up in distribution,
Okay.
but we shot it a while ago. But it was a higher budget independent film where it was uh, a fantasy story based on the Little Mermaid, set a period piece in the 1930s, the Dust
Oh.
Bowl in the United States, and a sort of dark fantasy, sort of the scary version. And it's a pretty dark story, but my I have six daughters, and the youngest as I basically well, it started that I took my wife, who was the mermaid, and I took her away from the sea because she was being hunted by the people of the sea. So we went as far as we could, which is inland United States, and but these monsters eventually sort of follow us there and are disguised as other people. And so the main bad guy was Ewan Brion from Game of Thrones, Ramsay Snow. So we were pretty excited to. We found out only a couple of days before they sort of kept it from us that he was going to be our sort of guest star. So it was pretty cool to do with him if you're familiar with that
Yeah.
show. He had a pretty big part in it, and he's a good villain. But
Cool.
he's a very nice guy in real life. Yeah,
That's
he'd never been to
cool.
Canada before, and he's only here for 10 days, and
Hmm.
so we had a lot of time to chat about Game of Thrones and stuff like that. So that was a
Uh-huh.
pretty big thrill for me.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I am like a massive Little Mermaid fan, so
Mm.
that sounds really interesting to me. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like the first movie that I ever really the Disney one is the first movie I ever really fell in love with.
Hmm.
It was kind of my childhood. If you talk to my brother, he's like, he's like the Little Mermaid. He'll just groan because
Yeah.
how much
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it.
Exactly.
But so
Yeah. There's
I'm always
it's
curious to see different like interpretations and different
for
styles
sure.
on the same story. That's one thing I love about Cinderella too. Is just like
Hmm.
how many people are able to take this core story and make it
Hmm.
so different.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Or
Yeah.
just
Well, it's
pay homage to it in different ways. It's cool.
totally. Yeah. Well, the that the Disney version is based on the fable.
Sure, sure,
That's
of
not
course.
the original, and the fable is sort of the basis for this
Yeah,
film, um, and which has different interpretations for sure. So
sure.
yeah, I mean, but hopefully I'll let everyone know when it comes out through my social media. It's
Yeah.
been long enough. But you can watch. It was based off a short film that I
Huh.
think is on YouTube still. The same director, Nicholas Humphreys, made it. But if you, I wonder how to tag. If you just put Little Mermaid, it'd be hard to find that. But if you put maybe Little Mermaid Circus as like a tag line, it's
Okay.
maybe that would help. And
Cool.
Nicholas Humphreys as well, maybe use his name. It would you'd find your way back to it. It's actually got quite a lot of views on YouTube. It's been
Oh,
things come back around in social media, and they sort of go away, and then
yeah.
people rediscover them as like new things. Like
Cool.
that's
Uh,
happened a couple times.
was Heavenly Christmas, was that was your first project for Hallmark?
That's right. Yeah, it was a smaller role, but it was a fun little part with Eric McCormick and Kristen Davis
Hmm.
um, as
We love
Tony.
that
The
movie because we had the
Yeah.
writer Greg McBride on our podcast
Oh,
talking about
cool.
our favorite romantic movies, and he's a delight
Nice.
and the best. And
Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
yeah, and so tell us a little bit about your new role in this new movie coming up, Love Once and Always.
Hmm. Yeah, I play Randall. So if we know a little bit about the previews of Love Once and Always, Lucy and Duncan were in love as young adults, and were sort of parted ways as they pursued their professional lives. And anyways, Lucy's aunt passed away and left her and Duncan, who was I guess the son of the caretakers there. She left them equally this mansion to share, or to decide, or to live in, even maybe as an encouragement for them to get together. But they have to decide what to do with this mansion, which is a very big part of the small town. Do they sell it? Do they develop it, or do they try to preserve it? And um, so they have to both come back together to the small town, and of course Sparks being the flagon and that kind of thing. And Randall, my character, is the son of other friends close to her aunt, and thus them growing up. So I knew them both growing up, and I sort of see the connection happening again as well. So we all want to save this mansion. So I may or may not, give a little nudge in that direction for
Uh-huh.
them.
Fun.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. I'm really excited for this movie. I think it looks
Yeah.
really cute. And
Yeah, it's really great. Yeah. Amanda and Peter were really, really awesome. I got along great with them, and Amanda's show was actually really funny person.
oh
I think
yeah.
she should have her own. She should have her own like comedy show. Her comedic
Oh,
timing is like awesome. I wasn't, expecting that. I wasn't expecting anything, but yeah, she's great, and just working with Alan Harmon, the director who I've known for quite a while. His daughter, his son and daughter, Jessica Harmon and Richard Harmon, are both really well known from The Hundred and iZombie. So they're both successful actors here in Vancouver as well. So, and I
Oh,
actually went to high school with Jessica, so it's
oh,
all a small world.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So I guess
Yeah.
Peter Porte in his Facebook Live, he said that the mansion was like haunted and weird. Did you get to spend any time in the mansion?
Oh, yeah, the mansion. I think. Well, we had for one a couple of different locations for the mansion. I'm trying to think of which one. He spent probably more time in it, obviously,
Yeah.
than I did. But there are a couple of locations that are used around town that are older heritage buildings that are um, known for that as well.
Uh-huh.
So I think, and I've been to most of them in my set tech career as well too. So
Oh, yeah.
I didn't experience any haunting personally, but
Cool.
yeah,
Well, I think it looks like a really, really fun movie. I'm definitely
yeah,
excited. So we like
mm-hmm.
to end our interviews with a little like kind of fun set of questions,
Mm-hmm.
silly questions.
Yep,
If you'll indulge us here, with
sure.
okay, so here we go. So what's the best ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Mm. Okay,
Yep.
favorite color.
Olive green.
Oh.
Yeah.
What music are you listening to right now? Like in your life? What's your favorite music?
Um, I listen to a lot of rap and hip hop, to be honest.
Oh.
Um, I've been I'm liking the Black Panther soundtrack and
Oh
Kendrick Lamar
yeah.
lately. Yeah,
I really like that too.
yeah.
Okay, so what was your go-to date night food?
Go to date night food. Wow. I I'm a big fan of like Italian food,
Uh,
pizza and pasta. I specifically like pasta with like meat sauce. Is like a big one for me. I
yeah,
think that's like just a good comfort
good
food
choice.
that everyone loves.
It's hard
Yeah,
to eat elegantly on a date. That's
it
the
is.
only downside to pasta.
That that's true.
You have to
Because
get like the like rigatoni or something like that that you can if you try to do spaghetti that's a terrible
y-
choice.
y- yeah, definitely. I think it'd be hard to eat elegantly unless you maybe just get someone to like pre-cut your food for you or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Elegant little bites.
right. And that's why like
But then you,
a
yeah.
piece of chicken is like I think the perfect. So you don't want a sandwich because that's too messy. Too
No,
yeah,
that's
too
then you're
much.
getting in there with your hands and yeah, that's true.
Or burger. That's terrible. But no,
Yeah, yeah, don't do that.
I love Italian food, so I'm totally with you there. Spaghetti
Yeah.
and balls when I'm not on a date is like my favorite food in the whole world. What is your go-to date night activity? Your favorite thing?
Um, I always like doing something that's a little bit exciting. Um,
Ooh.
I think something like a movie is just kind of a cop out, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing to spend like 2 or more hours like sitting next to someone and not talking. It's kind of
Right.
odd, especially if you're like getting to know someone. So some kind of walk or like a bike ride or um,
That sounds
some
fun.
sort of
Yeah.
outdoor experience. Good,
Yeah,
good way to go.
we've talked about this before on the podcast, but if you do the movie date, the key
Hmm.
is you do movie and dinner, not dinner and
Yeah,
movie. Because then you can go to
yeah,
the movie and then you can talk about the movie at dinner.
true, true.
Yeah,
That's a good way.
that's the
Good way to
key.
do it too.
So,
Yeah,
okay, so dogs or cats?
dogs.
Dogs.
Definitely a dog person. I like cats. I'm allergic to cats,
Yeah, me too.
unfortunately. But it doesn't mean that I don't like them.
Right.
Definitely more of a dog person.
Cool. Beaches or
Yeah.
mountains?
Ooh, well, in Vancouver we have both. So, and I literally I live next to the beach, and I am
Oh, so
minutes away
jealous.
from a mountain. So I that's a tough call. I'd probably say beaches though, because
Yeah.
I got to be near the water. I grew up near the water, and I feel weird when I'm not near it. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
that's the because I'm in Utah, and that's the
Mm,
downside to Utah is it's landlocked. No ocean. But I
yeah,
love the ocean. I like live for the ocean. But
yeah. I grew up on the Pacific Coast, so I just it's weird when I go somewhere that doesn't have a big body of water.
yeah.
So, feels just so unfamiliar.
All right, almost done. So suit and tie or sweats.
Tie or sweat? I mean, the tie looks nice, but we'll be real, it's not very comfortable.
All right.
I go for sweat for sure.
Yeah.
It's
So
way more cushioned.
favorite holiday.
Favorite holiday? Hmm, it's a tough one. I think I like. I'd probably say Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas is ever changing. I think with life and having certain meaning when you're a kid, you grow older, and it sort of changes to shift your attention on others, and
Yeah.
that's where it is
It's
for
true.
me. So
And,
and it is a time of year where things just kind of slow down. So kind of like that.
except for Hallmark. Things zoom up at Christmas for Hallmark. Uh,
Hmm.
last year
Yeah.
there were the 33 new films
Hmm. Yeah.
for Christmas. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, it was pretty fun. Hope it's not too hard of a question, but your favorite Hallmark movie?
Um. Wow. Um. I think I really liked Heavenly Christmas.
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
it was cute. I really liked the casting.
yeah,
And it was a cute story. And
yeah,
yeah, it was just a feel good film, and it was well executed. So
yeah.
it was a good one.
It's a really good one. It's one that could have
Yeah.
like gone off the rails pretty easily, but it's just got
Hmm.
such heart and I don't know, it just works. It's really good.
Yeah. Mark is a really great actor. Actually, I've seen him on stage as well, and he was very experienced, and a really nice guy too. So it was
Yeah.
suited that role well, obviously.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He was really good. And
Yeah.
it and we found out in our interview with Greg that he based some of the characters on people from his own life and things, and I think you can just tell it has that sort of personal feel to it. So good choice.
Hmm.
I like that one. So all
Yeah.
right, well that's
And
it. You made it through all the questions.
cool. Awesome.
And
Yeah, I'm on my way to an audition right now,
okay.
and
Well,
what was that?
or I was just going to say, well, thank you so much for joining us and talking with us. And
Yeah,
where can people reach you if they on social media or whatever?
yeah. I'm on all social media fronts at Mr. Brendan Taylor, at Mr. Brendan Taylor, Instagram and Twitter. You'll find me. Yeah, I have some projects releasing as well. Actually, the arrangement, which I'm in on E Network, is coming out. It's premiering on Sunday, I believe.
Mm,
I show up again. I was in the first season, so I show up about halfway through the season, and a couple other shows, including I can say I can't tell you what it is, but tomorrow I'm starting shooting another Hallmark project.
oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
exciting. Great. Well,
It
good
is.
luck on your
Yeah.
audition, and I'll have all of that
Mm-hmm.
information, all of Brendan's contact information in the description section of this podcast. So check that out, you guys. Follow him on social media and make sure you're following us on Hallmarkies podcast on Instagram and Twitter. And we have some fun stuff coming up in the next week. We're going to be looking at the detective stories that have been the detective movies that have come out this year, all four of them. and upcoming on this week on the podcast. So definitely look forward to that. And we have this weekend, Love Once and Always. And then we have the new Fixer Upper movie on Sunday, and our new episode of When Calls the Heart. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming up this weekend on Hallmark. So you want to check that out and check out our podcast. And thanks again. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
And we'll look forward to seeing you on the movie this weekend.
Yeah. Enjoy it. Should be a fun one.
Thanks, and take care.
All right. Thanks so much. You
Bye.
as well. Okay. Bye-bye.